Stop teaching your child the alphabet before age 5. I'm serious. Right now, you might be sitting with your 3-year-old, holding up flashcards. A for apple, B for ball, and your child is crying, running away, or worse, memorizing them joylessly because they want to please you. And meanwhile, you're scrolling Instagram seeing toddlers who can read, neighbors bragging about preschool achievements, and ads screaming, "Don't let your child fall behind." But here's what nobody's telling you. In Finland, the country with the highest literacy rates in the world, children don't learn to read until age 7. Age 7. Not 3. Not 4. Not even 5. And yet they destroy every standardized test by age 15. How? Because they understand something about the brain that we've forgotten. And by the end of this video, you'll know their secret, plus 5 simple activities you can start today that actually prepare your child for school. But first, I need you to hear something important. If you've been pushing ABCs and 123s because you thought it was the right thing to do, you're not a bad parent. You're actually an incredible parent who loves your child deeply. The pressure is real. Every parenting group tells you to start earlier. Every toy screams educational. Every other parent seems to have a genius toddler. It's exhausting. It's confusing. And worst of all, it makes you feel like you're failing. But what if I told you that everything you've been told about early learning is backward? What if the Head Start you trying to give your child is actually slowing them down? And what if the real secret to raising a brilliant, capable child has nothing to do with flashcards? Stay with me. Because what I'm about to show you will change everything. Before we dive into the science, let me give you a preview of what your child actually needs before age 5. Not this ABC flashcards, worksheets, screen-based educational apps. But this, conversations about everything, not letter drills. Climbing, jumping, getting dirty outside. Building towers, knocking them down, building again. Messy art, Play-Doh, finger painting. Stories read aloud with silly voices. Sound too simple? Good. Because the brain science behind it is fascinating. And in just a few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to do each of these. But first, you need to understand why this works when flashcards don't. Because here's the thing most parents don't know about the developing brain. Between birth and age 5, your child's brain is creating 1 million neural connections every single second. 1 million. Every second. But here's what Harvard's Center on the Developing Child discovered: these connections aren't random. They're building something specific, the architecture of the brain. The foundation that everything else will be built on later. And here's the catch: that foundation isn't made from letters and numbers. It's made from sensory experiences, physical movement, emotional safety, and imaginative play. Think of it this way. You can't build a house by starting with the roof and hoping the walls appear later. But that's exactly what we're doing when we push academic learning too early. We're asking a 3-year-old's brain to do something it's literally not wired for yet. Now here comes the shocking part. Dr. Jack Shonkoff from Harvard studied thousands of children and found that kids who spent ages 2 to 5 in play-based environments, no formal academics, just exploration, actually had stronger neural connections by age 7 than kids who did worksheets. Stronger focus. Better problem solving. More creativity. But wait. If play is so powerful, why does every kindergarten in America push reading at age 5? That's where Korean parents figured out something brilliant. And I'm about to tell you what it is. Let me tell you about 3 cultures that consistently produce the highest achieving students in the world, and what they do completely differently. Korean parents have a concept called Jong. It means building deep emotional connection and patience before anything academic. Korean mothers will spend hours just watching their child play. Not directing. Not teaching. Just being present. They believe that a child who feels deeply connected will naturally want to learn when they're ready. And the result? Korean students consistently rank number 1 in math and science by high school, but they didn't start formal learning until age 6 or 7. In Finland, children spend their early years in forest schools, where they climb trees and build forts, learn about weather by being in it, count rocks they collect, and write stories about adventures they had. No worksheets. No tests. No alphabet drills. The Finnish believe something profound: childhood is not preparation for life. Childhood is life. And by age 15, Finnish kids outperform almost every other country in reading, despite starting 3 years later. Traditional Japanese culture says, until age 7, children are with the gods. Meaning, they're meant to absorb life through experience, not instruction. Japanese early childhood focuses on gamen, building patience through real challenges, not drills. Kaizen, improving through practice, not perfection. Ikigai, finding joy in the process. Here's the stunning truth. Researchers compared children who learned to read at 4 versus 7. By age 11, there was zero difference in reading ability. The early advantage disappears. But you know what doesn't disappear? Now here's what nobody wants to talk about. What happens to children who are pushed academically before age 5? I need to show you 3 research findings that should concern every parent. A Stanford study tracked 200 children from preschool through 5th grade. Kids who had academic pressure before age 5 were 3 times more likely to develop school-related anxiety by 3rd grade. 3 times. They learned early, learning is stressful. I'm not good at this. I disappoint my parents. Cambridge University researchers found that children who spent ages 3 to 5 on structured academic tasks showed 40% less creative problem solving by age 8 compared to play-based kids. Why? Because imagination is like a muscle. Use it or lose it. And flashcards don't exercise imagination, pretend play does. When children memorize letters before their brains have built the supporting skills, the attention, the focus, the fine motor control, the language comprehension, they build what psychologists call a fragile foundation. It looks impressive at age 4. But by age 8, when learning gets complex, these kids often struggle. Because they're building advanced skills on a foundation full of holes. Okay, I know what you're thinking, so what do I do instead? If not ABCs, then what? Here's where it gets exciting. Let me give you 5 activities that actually build school readiness, backed by neuroscience and used in the world's top-performing education systems. Forget letter recognition. Your child needs to swim in language. Here's what to do: narrate everything. I'm slicing this red tomato. Look how the seeds squish out. Ask open questions. Why do you think the water is bubbling? Answer every why with curiosity, not irritation. Read books and pause. What do you think will happen next? The science: Stanford found that children from language-rich homes hear 30 million more words by age 3. This word gap predicts reading ability far better than knowing ABCs early. The Tibetan secret: Tibetan monks teach through storytelling and questioning, never through memorization. They believe wisdom comes from dialogue, not drill. Dedicate at least 1 hour daily to unstructured outdoor play. Give them a bucket for collecting treasures. A stick for drawing in dirt. Permission to get completely filthy. What they're learning: science. Why does mud dry? Where do bugs live? Math. I have 3 rocks. You have 5. How many total? Physics. This branch is too bendy. I need a thicker one. The Scandinavian wisdom: in Norway and Sweden, they have friluftsliv, free air life, the belief that children need outdoor freedom to develop healthy brains and bodies. Rain, snow, cold? They bundle up and go anyway. Because nature is the world's best teacher. Simple wooden blocks are the single most educational toy ever invented. Why? Because when your child builds, they're learning geometry, shapes, symmetry, patterns. Physics: balance, gravity, cause and effect. Executive function: planning, problem solving, persistence. Math: counting, measuring, spatial reasoning. Montessori secret: Maria Montessori observed that children who built with blocks for hours became the best readers later, because blocks teach sequencing, patterns, and spatial awareness that reading requires. No rules. No correct way. Just building, destroying, and building again. Involve your child in real cooking and baking. What they learn: math, measuring cups, counting eggs, fractions, half a cup. Science: heat changes things, mixing creates reactions. Reading: following a recipe is sequencing. Life skills: responsibility and contribution. The French secret: French children are involved in meal prep from age 2. They learn patience, meals take time, appreciation, food is valuable, and sensory awareness: taste, smell, texture. By age 5, French kids can often cook simple meals, and their fine motor skills, essential for writing, are exceptionally developed. Provide open-ended art materials and 0 instructions. Give them crayons and paper, our channel's namesake. Play-Doh. Washable paints. Collage materials. Don't ask, what is it, or show them the right way. Say, tell me about what you made, and focus on their process, not product. Waldorf wisdom: Waldorf schools delay formal academics until age 7 but prioritize art from day 1. Why? Because art builds fine motor control, needed for writing. Color recognition, needed for reading. Pattern awareness, needed for math. Emotional expression, needed for life. Here's something beautiful. Everything I just shared isn't new. Indigenous cultures have known this for thousands of years. Native American traditions: many tribes believe children under 7 are still with the spirit world. They're not rushed into structured learning because childhood itself is the sacred learning. Maori culture from New Zealand: they have a concept called AKO, meaning everyone is both teacher and learner. Even a 3-year-old teaches adults through their wonder and questions. Tibetan Buddhist tradition: Tibetan parents teach through patient observation. They watch how children solve problems naturally, only guiding when truly necessary. These cultures understand something we've forgotten: childhood is not a race. It's a garden. You can't make a flower bloom by prying open its petals. You provide the right conditions: sunlight, water, nutrients, time, and it blooms naturally, beautifully, permanently. When we push ABCs too early, we're prying. And we're damaging something precious in the process. We're prying. And we're damaging something precious in the process. So let me paint you two pictures. Picture 1, the early academic child at age 8. They could read at age 3. Parents were so proud. Instagram was full of videos. But now at 8, they feel anxious about school, avoid challenges, I might get it wrong, lost their natural curiosity, and see learning as a chore, not an adventure. When the teacher says, let's try something new, they freeze. When homework gets hard, they cry. Not because they're not smart, but because they learned early that learning is about performance, not exploration. Picture 2, the play-based child at age 8. They didn't learn letters until 6. Parents trusted the process. Neighbors raised eyebrows. But the parents held firm. Now at 8, they love learning, tackle challenges eagerly, let me try. I can figure this out, ask endless questions, and read fluently and joyfully. When something is hard, they persist. When they make mistakes, they laugh and try again. Because they learned early that learning is an adventure, not a test. Cambridge University followed both groups until age 15. Guess which group had higher reading comprehension, better math problem solving, more creative thinking, and lower anxiety? The play-based kids. Every single time. The advantage of early academics disappeared by age 8. But the love of learning, that stayed forever. So here's what I want you to remember. Your child doesn't need ABCs before age 5. What they need is your voice, talking, singing, storytelling. Your presence, watching them play without directing. Your trust, believing they'll learn when they're ready. Your permission, to be messy, wild, imaginative. Your patience, to let childhood be childhood. These aren't just nice extras. These are the foundation for every academic skill they'll ever need. When your child starts formal learning at 5, 6, or 7, they'll have something far more valuable than memorized facts. A brain that's ready to learn. A heart that wants to learn. A spirit that hasn't been crushed by pressure. Let me tell you about something that happened last month. A mother emailed me. She said, I stopped the flashcards 3 weeks ago. At first, I felt guilty. But yesterday, my 4-year-old spent 2 hours building a city out of blocks and told me an entire story about the people who live there. She used words I didn't know she knew. She solved problems I didn't teach her to solve. And she was glowing with joy. I finally understand. This is the learning. That's what I want for your child. Not the ability to recite letters at 3. But the ability to think, create, wonder, and persist at 8, at 18, at 80. So please, give yourself permission. Permission to let your toddler be a toddler. Permission to ignore the Instagram perfection. Permission to trust that letters will come easily, joyfully, permanently, when the foundation is strong. And I know what some of you are thinking. But what if I'm wrong? What if my child really does fall behind? Let me tell you something. The research is clear. Children who start reading at 4 and children who start reading at 7 are indistinguishable by age 11. Indistinguishable. The early readers don't stay ahead. But you know what does stay? The love of learning or the anxiety about learning. That stays. I want to give you 3 things you can start doing today. Right now. Before this video even ends. Number 1, tonight, when your child is playing, sit nearby and just watch. Don't direct. Don't teach. Don't correct. Just watch with curiosity and wonder. Notice what they're interested in. Notice how they solve problems. Notice the concentration on their face. This is where learning lives. Number 2, tomorrow, have one conversation where you ask 3 open-ended questions and really listen to the answers. Not, what color is this, but, what do you think will happen if we plant this seed? Not, how many are there, but, which pile do you think has more? How do you know? You're teaching them that their thoughts matter, that thinking is valuable. Number 3, this week, choose one activity from the 5 I shared and commit to it. Maybe it's reading for 20 minutes every evening with silly voices and pauses for their predictions. Maybe it's 1 hour of outdoor play every day, rain or shine. Maybe it's baking together on Saturday morning. Just one. Do it consistently. Watch what happens. Here's what I've learned after years of studying childhood development and talking to thousands of parents. The parents who raise the most capable, confident, joyful children aren't the ones who start academics earliest. They're the ones who protect childhood fiercely. They're the ones who say, my child has their whole life to sit at a desk. Right now, they need to climb trees. They're the ones who trust the process even when it's hard. And let me be honest with you. It is hard sometimes. When your neighbor's 4-year-old is reading chapter books and yours is still pretending to be a dinosaur, it's hard. When your mother-in-law asks, shouldn't they know their letters by now, it's hard. When you see those Instagram posts of toddlers doing worksheets, it's hard. But I want you to remember this moment. Remember Finland. Remember Korea. Remember Japan. Remember the research. Remember that by age 11, there's no difference. But by age 15, the play-based kids are thriving while some early academic kids are struggling. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're actually doing something radical and brave. You're protecting your child's childhood. You're building a foundation that will last a lifetime. And that matters more than any letter recognition at age 3. I also want to say this. If you've already been pushing academics and you're feeling guilty right now, please don't. You can change course starting today. Your child's brain is incredibly resilient. It's never too late to add more play, more conversation, more outdoor time, more joy. Just start where you are. One mother told me she cried watching this kind of information because she'd spent 2 years doing flashcards with her daughter. And now she felt like she'd wasted time or caused harm. But here's what I told her, those 2 years of connection with your daughter, even if the activity wasn't ideal, still mattered. She felt your love and attention. Now you have new information. Now you can make a different choice. That's not failure. That's growth. So wherever you are in your parenting journey, whether your child is 2 or 5, whether you've been doing flashcards or playing freely, you're exactly where you need to be. And you can start fresh today. If this video shifted something in you, please hit that thumbs up. And subscribe to the Crayon Parent, where we blend brain science, gentle parenting, and ancient wisdom to raise capable, confident kids. We're building a community of parents who are brave enough to go against the grain, who trust childhood, who believe in the power of play. Comment below, what's one thing you'll do more of this week? And one thing you'll do less of? I want to hear from you. Will you spend more time reading together? More time outdoors? Will you put away the flashcards? Will you just watch your child play without directing? Tell me. I read every single comment, and I learn from you just as much as I hope you learn from these videos. And if you found this helpful, share it with one parent who needs to hear this message. The mom who's exhausted from the pressure. The dad who's confused about what to do. The grandparent who's worried about their grandchild. Share it with someone who needs permission to let their child be a child. Before you go, I want to leave you with one final thought. Your child will learn their ABCs. I promise you that. Every typically developing child learns to read eventually. Some at 5, some at 7. But do you know what not every child learns? Joy in learning. Confidence in their abilities. Resilience when things are hard. Creativity in solving problems. Curiosity about the world. These things? These are only learned in childhood. Through play. Through exploration. Through freedom. Through trust. And once childhood is gone, you can't get it back. But the ABCs? Those can wait. And they will come. Easily, naturally, joyfully. When the time is right. So trust the process. Trust your child. And most importantly, trust yourself. You're doing better than you think. Your child is exactly where they need to be. And childhood is not a race to the finish line. It's a garden. And you're planting seeds that will bloom for decades to come. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring enough to watch this whole video. Thank you for being the kind of parent who questions, who learns, who grows. Your child is lucky to have you. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, go play with your kids. Make a mess. Tell a story. Build a fort. Climb a tree. Because that is where the magic happens. Trust the process. Trust your child. Trust yourself.